Testing, testing. Oops. Let's see. I'm always forgetting. There we go. Got that going. All right. I think checking all my little things here. Audio's good. Video's good. I think we are ready to go. Got your coffee, decaf, and if you do, then that means it's time for the cowbell. Happy to be with you once again for another late night geek out session on Teams. I'm your host, Ricardo Wilkins, and we are going to get rocking and rolling here. So I titled this particular session, I think I called it Files with Friends. The idea being to show one scenario of a way to work on files in a Teams meeting, particularly with users who are not a part of your org and thus who might have some challenges in working on files with you. If they're fellow team members or if they're people from your org joining the meeting, it should be relatively simple in terms of sharing links to files and things like that. Depends on the scenario, but it's likely that everybody in that meeting probably has access to the files and can jump into them quite easily. So really, this is more about meetings with random, anonymous, I don't want to call them anonymous. You probably know the people in your meeting, but people not in your org, let's say, or people in your org that have joined without authenticating. So we'll dive into it here, and I'll try to paint the picture of the pain that perpetuates. I don't know. I was trying to do some alliteration there. I'll try to paint the picture here. So, so let's fire up a meeting. We'll just do a meet now and start up a meeting. This is again an example of the ease with which we can, obviously start a meeting, but also add anybody on the planet with internet and at least a browser, right? So I'm going to fire up this meeting. The meeting is a go. And you can see here, it's already trying to help me add people to the meeting. And I think I will use this one here. I usually close this out real quick, but I will grab a copy of the meeting link. And now I'll close it out. So the meeting's there. I'm in here by myself. So I want to add, in this case, as anonymous a user as I possibly can. This is just somebody on the planet with internet in the browser. So to do that, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to fire up an in private window. In private windows basically is just a fresh browser session, no cookies or saved credentials or anything, right? And I will paste the link that I just copied from the meeting into the browser here and hit enter. It's trying to open up my local copy of Teams for obvious reasons. I don't want it to do that. I'm going to act as if this anonymous user is attending this meeting via the browser. So I'm going to continue on this browser. But again, as you can see, that it was prepared to let me use my Teams desktop because it's installed, right? So I'm going to continue on this browser. And unless if you're not familiar with in private browser sessions, I mean, then you just have to trust me that this is a pretty good way of imitating a scenario of an anonymous user. If you're not familiar with in private sessions, maybe it doesn't make sense why I'm doing this, but again, trust me that this is a user coming in without credentials, and in fact, this kind of shows us this as well. So whether I'm a stranger or whether I'm just a person from the org who happens to be joining from a browser in a hotel kiosk or a library or whatever it may be, this is giving me a chance to enter my name, which again, is a sign that Teams says I don't know you. You aren't authenticating. At least give me a name that I can display in the meeting. If we look at the fine print down here, for a better experience, sign in. Okay, so it's giving me that opportunity. So maybe I do have a sign in, but I just forgot to click. Didn't go that route, but I got another opportunity to sign in. But this is letting you know that this user isn't signed in. I'm hoping that is relatively obvious here. So I'm just a stranger. All right. And I'm going to join. I can still join with camera and mic and all those good things if I had them. I'm going to go ahead and join. All right. We've let people in the meeting know. This meeting apparently is set up such that a guest needs to be authenticated. It sits in the lobby, right? So I'm going to go ahead and let them in. And so now that stranger is in the meeting. This is someone on the planet with internet and a browser, at least. Or in this case, it is internet and a browser, right? So this is their experience, right? They're seeing, and they've got sharing and hand raising and chat. Very limited chat, as you can see here. Pretty much can just type text. So what we're seeing is the experience of a guest anonymous user. And this isn't even the focus of what I was trying to get at tonight, but still worth kind of mentioning here. Okay, so we are in a meeting. Think family and friends, right? I mean, whatever the scenario may be. But what I really want to show here is the fact that, for instance, as I just pointed out, this user doesn't have much down here. There's no upload or all those other things, right? I can just do text. So what happens if I the stranger, did want to do some file collaboration with you? Now on my side, I've certainly got all the bells and whistles because, it's my meeting and I got the paid license and all that good stuff. The stranger hasn't paid for anything except their internet bill, and maybe not that if they're in a library or something. But I've got the chat and the files uploads and loop and all that good stuff. So I'm ready to go. Now, let's try a few things. We'll kind of keep taking this walk down this path, right? So we're rocking and rolling, we're talking, we're chatting, right? So I can put things in chat. Let's try to shake this thing and get rid of some windows. It's a nice look. That's a little Windows tip there. Shake the window to get rid of the other windows. I just wanted to make it a little easier for myself to move things around. Okay, so you can see stranger can see the chat. Stranger can post chat. So all's well from a chatting perspective. Now let's, on my end, let's start doing some things with files. Let me try to find a file here, like whatever this is. And I'm going to upload it here. And here's where we start to talk about some of the nuances of this. Me, Ricardo here, I am in a tenant that has some sharing options that maybe you don't typically see in your org. And to show that, and I'm explaining that before I kind of hit post here on this, so just hang with me. To show what I'm talking about, I'm going to go to my OneDrive. And so you see my OneDrive here. I'm going to go to Documents. I know it's a little small. I'm going to make it bigger. And let's take a look. I'm in my OneDrive. I am looking at this document here, and I'm going to right click to get to the share options for OneDrive. Hopefully this is all familiar. This is where I would come to share this file, not necessarily in a meeting, but in general. And I'm going to share, and hopefully this looks familiar. This is the sharing UI for a file. What may not be familiar though, what you may be used to seeing is people in your company with the link, people with existing access. Anyone with the link is often grayed out in many orgs. Essentially what this means, and it's what we're going to use for our scenario, is just as it implies, anybody on the planet that I give this link to can access this file. So it's probably not too hard to understand why an org might not turn that on initially. They might want to help the users help themselves and not overshare. Even in a sharing conscious org, the anyone option still has some value, especially when you're trying to share things on public platforms like your website, your public website, right? But that's another conversation. So what I'm pointing out here is that this org, in my scenario, my org does have the option for sharing with anyone with the link. Not just read only, but as you can see from the checkbox, even allowing editing. Okay. And as you know, OneDrive's got a lot of sharing options and nice controls, so I can set an expiration date for this link. So yes, I can share with anyone in the world, but I can make it last for just 2 days, and then it's gone. I can set passwords. I can decide to block a download, all this good stuff. So I wanted to call this out first, that the feature I'm using might be one you're not familiar with because your org, like many orgs, has this grayed out. Not the worst thing in the world, very common. But it is what it is, right? But for us, it is there, and we're going to use that as a way of doing some sharing in this particular case. So, so I'm going to get out of that, but I just want to show that option there. Now, even in the case where this is not enabled, because this is very like blanket, like anyone with the link, right? It doesn't mean that you still have an option for sharing outside of your org, and it's likely with this specific people where I can then put a email address of someone that I want to share with externally. So it's not quite so open, but it is, it does still let me share with someone external. They got to do a few steps to kind of prove who they are, all that good stuff, but you can still make it work. Obviously, if I was trying to share with 100 people, this gets a little cumbersome, but at the end of the day, it's still a viable scenario. Okay. So that was a little sidebar there, but that's the sharing. And I just wanted to show that this org has that anyone thing enabled. Now, with that being said, the document I uploaded to this meeting to share with the stranger, we have these sharing options embedded right within the context of where we're sharing the document, which is awesome, right? I don't have to go prep the sharing of the document first and then upload it. You can see here that I've got this drop down, which is going to let me make whatever changes I feel I need. In this case, if I click it, it's doing a few things. So it's already set to anyone, which is actually what I want for the purpose of this scenario. But it's got some other options similar to what we just saw in the sharing window when we were looking at OneDrive files, people in your org, also people in this chat. That's kind of the equivalent of, or it's like the equivalent of you manually looking at everyone in the chat, getting their email address and sending them a share, but Teams does it for you, and then you got the rest that you saw: existing access, specific people, all that good stuff. Very cool. This is a lot of sharing capabilities, all right in the context of your sharing. You might have to be a little older like me to appreciate days when there was a lot more prep work and going other places and to prep the sharing of a file. It's awesome that it's right there like this. Anyway, for us, we want anyone with the link. It's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And you can see here that the document's there. Let's see if they can open it. And they may not. I didn't prep much, for this, so we'll try this together. Let's see here. Open in, let's say, the browser. Cross my fingers. So it worked with some messages and whatnot. So what are we seeing here? So first off, I guess I'm just kind of beating a dead horse here that for many of you, you're used to a stranger, you're really not being able to open this file. But again, remember, it's because we have that anyone option selected. But with that being said, this stranger, this person on the planet with internet and a browser, is able to read the document that we have shared in this meeting, which is cool. So I can share that, because without this, my option, I'm just going to this will open, and of course I don't want that, just go away. Without that, my other option would be to open this document and share it, like open the desktop app or something and share it, and the person just sees whatever I am sharing in the window, right? And let me check one thing here. I'm going to do that one more time. We'll see with another doc, because I can't remember. Anyone with a link can edit. I think that's what I chose last time. I don't know. Do you remember? Did I have this checked? I can't remember. Let's do it again. So that one's checked. Apply. Anyone with the link can edit. Go there. Come over here. Open in the browser. Okay. Because I am in editing mode, I can make changes to this as an anonymous user. Was I able to do that with the other one? Open in the browser. Yeah, I was in editing. I guess I just didn't try it. Okay, yeah. In both cases, so I'm not only able to see the file, I'm able to collaborate on the file. And let's be more specific there. Me, the originator of the file, I'm going to go ahead and open it in the desktop app. And you will see that I can see the guest contributor in there. So the guest, the anonymous person on the planet, is participating in real-time collaboration with me. All right. It looks like it hasn't caught up yet. Let's go back here, because let's see. Oh, there it is. A little slow, but the little S's that I put there are there. Right. So we are rocking and rolling with a collaboration, right? So again, instead of the standard share the Word doc and you watch me make edits. This is me and a stranger collaborating together on this doc. Okay, and even that isn't entirely what I wanted to show, so stay with me. So that's good though. With that anyone link, I can put documents in there. They can open it up. We can collaborate on it. That's good. All right, let's keep it rocking and rolling, because what if I've got multiple docs? What if I want to allow the guest user to give me documents? You know, you're probably thinking that's impossible. There's no upload button here, and to some degree it's not possible, but we're gonna go do a little workaround here. We're in our OneDrive. I'm gonna make a folder called share with a guest or something. I don't know. I do terrible namings. I've made this folder, and I am going to share the folder using the anyone with a link can edit, and I'm going to grab a copy of that URL. Okay, stay with me. I'm going to come back to my meeting, and I'm going to say upload your documents here, and I am going to paste that URL. I always like to make it look nicer, something like that. I'm pasting, or I've posted that. Upload your documents here with a link. Over here in the stranger's world, they've got that message, right? They click that, and they are taken to that OneDrive folder. This anonymous person who hasn't paid for anything except an internet bill doesn't have access to all the other stuff in my documents folder, just the thing I've shared. So not only can they see documents that I would put there, notice they can't make new documents, but they can upload. Of course, this, let's just use this as an example. Upload, let's just find, let's upload this. And you see it's going, this, as we can see here, is the guest contributor uploading a document to this little share area, right? Which of course then I can open it in my browser because I own that folder, so certainly I can see it. But again, that's a document that the guest has added. And so this is really where I was trying to get with today's kind of topic, is this idea of this shareable folder through OneDrive, by which anyone, not just an Office 365 user, but anyone can have this scoped access to the documents. Again, this becomes useful when there's 20 documents I wanted to share. I've put them all in this folder, and I just share out the folder. Now I can see all the files, I can collaborate, all that good stuff. So very easy way, several easy ways here to collaborate on documents without just sharing them out, right? This is showing them in a ways where they can be edited, where I can see multiple docs, where I can even upload my own. So even though my friend here has no upload button, by using this approach, we can still accomplish that fact. Okay. So that is really what I was getting at. Again, if none of that existed, what we would have done, what you have probably done in these similar scenarios, is just shared out the files and let people see what you're sharing, but there wasn't much interaction per se. So this adds a little more interaction to that, because obviously if I've shared this document out and I'm also sharing it on the screen, if those strangers are making updates, then those would show as the file synced and all that kind of good stuff. So Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you believe me that this is truly an anonymous user here in this environment. And even though they're anonymous and have no license to anything, Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, nothing, they are doing work with us. They are collaborating with us. So that speaks to the ease with which one can bring someone into a meeting as well as collaborate with that person in a meeting. Regardless of their platform, their devices, their licenses, their authentication, all of that good stuff. Okay. So that was kind of what I wanted to show today. I'm going to end this meeting, which hitting end meeting closes it for everyone, if you've never tried that out. And we are good, and close that out. All right. So hopefully that was useful and fun, and hopefully it's something that you can use later on. So get your coffee and ponder that stuff for a little while and find a way to use it in your next meeting. All right. Hope you have fun. It's been Coffee with the Cowbell.